What is good, Maine Mariners Nation? This is the Maine Hockey Report, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Eight wins in a row, guys. A franchise record for our Maine Mariners. Holy bleepity bleep, man. This team is hot. They are red hot. And if you cannot get on board with this team right now, I can't help you, because this team is just playing some lights out hockey, and they're winning in every which way possible that you can imagine right now. This is some exciting stuff. They're starting to play some of their best hockey at just the right time. Guys, let's get into the box score today. Their first home game in almost a month with the Trois-Rivières Lions in town. Of course, the Kelly Cup defending champions in town. They got down in this one, guys, after reeling off 7 in a row on the road. They come home. You've got 3 opponents in 3 cities in 3 consecutive days. After all that road time, you could kind of give them a little credit if they were, kind of were a little sluggish, or even if they lost this one, right? It was a hard spot to be in. And you get down 2-0 in this game, guys. Of course, the Maine Mariners end up winning this one 3-2. Shots on goal, 36-21 for Maine. That's 10-8 in that first period. 17-5, where Maine really started to take over this one. 9-8 in the third for the Mariners. Power play, 0-4 for the Mariners, 0-2 for Trois. Goal scored in this one, it was Trois-Rivières getting on the board there at the 11-minute mark in the first period. A stopper with his 5th on the year. That was from Dunlap and Louis Jean. Then they get this second one there early at the 2:50 mark in the second period from Martin. That was his 10th of the year unassisted. And then it was at the 9:19 mark. Maine finally gets on the board here. Jordan with his 11th of the year from Venuto and Bellamy. Hudson tacks one on at the 9:53 mark not long after. His 19th goal of the season. That was from Andreev. And then it was Hemstrom with the game winner at the 19:11 mark. The Mariners had just killed off a penalty not much before that. That was assisted by Lampa and Felix. And Gerard in net for this one. Of course, he gave up the 2, but only the 2. 19 saves on 21 shots. And that is 8 wins in a row for your Maine Mariners. I can't say I'm stunned, because I have been bullish on this team, as I said on my last couple of videos. Been very, very bullish, but 8-1 since this road trip started back on, I believe it was the 11th of February, where they go to Florida for 3. They go back up to Bloomington for 3. I mean, that right there alone, you leave the sunshine of Florida for Bloomington, Indiana. Like, can we reverse that and go to Bloomington first and then Florida? But so you get those 2 road trips out of the way. And of course, it starts out kind of a little bit rough with that first that one loss there you took, and then there was a 0-0 game in there where Maine wins 1-0 in a shootout. Crazy stuff, and they just carry it through. They go into Adirondack, a team that's given us fits this year, and they put it to them. Amesbury doing all of his Amesbury type stuff, and the Mariners standing up tall. Cheveldayoff standing up tall for him, and a bunch of the other guys too. So great win there. And then a really tight affair down in Worcester last night. Again, the Railers always kind of play us tough, and you get out of that one after being down 1-0. And then tonight, again, you're down 2-0. You've just reeled off 7 wins in a row. Everybody would excuse it if you lost this one today. You just would. You'd be like, you know what? Listen, they were due for one clunker. You get home, the emotion of the road trip is over. 3 opponents in 3 cities on 3 consecutive days, and a 3 p.m. start on top of that. A lot of threes in there, I know. You could say, listen, we get it. But you know what? They get down 2-0. They battle through it with their backup in net. Just phenomenal stuff here, guys. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. So let's talk a little Brad Arvanitis. Can we talk a little bit about Brad, please? 7 starts out of the last 9 games. He has been carrying the pail here with Kavlin still up in Providence. Don't know what's going to happen there. Of course, DiPietro back in Providence now himself. How long does Kavlin stay up? But, man, Arvy has been carrying the load, and he's been looking sharp, man. And listen, we shouldn't be shocked by this. Arvy, when he has been called to action in his time as a Maine Mariner, has typically stood on his head and stood up. He's now more of a veteran guy in the league. He's been down this road before. Playing some great hockey, man. In the 7 starts that he had over these last 9 games, 6-1, 2 shutouts, and a 958 save percentage. 958. That's just phenomenal stuff where, he's having to play a lot of these kind of back to back. And, of course, you give him the day off today, and Gerard steps up with, getting his second win on this stretch as well. So just, tip of the cap to Brad Arvanitis, man, because he has been absolutely phenomenal. But let's take a look at some of these other stats here over these 9 games. And this, again, goes back to February 11th. Let's look at the specialty teams in this time. You've been at, for the power play, 19.4%. That's 6 power play goals on 31 attempts. But your penalty kill has been absolutely lights out. 85.3%, 29 kills on 34 opportunities, and against some really good opponents. So that has just been awesome. Awesome to see. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers, bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 NHL. All rights reserved. Top scorers here, guys. Let's look at some of these guys, and some of the play we've been seeing, some of the goal scoring, some of the offensive creativity has been really, really cool out there. Robert Cronin, over these 9 games, 2 goals, 9 assists for 11 points. He's just been on fire. Brooklyn Kalmakoff, 4 goals, 10 assists for 10 points. Jordan, 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points. Anderson, 2, 4, and 6. Hudson, 4 goals, 1 assist for 5 points. And Andreev, 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. There's a few other guys in there with 3 and 4 points too. I think the idea here is you're getting scoring up and down this roster, up and down this lineup, but some of your bigger guys are really stepping up. Cronin and Kalmakoff, Jordan, the new addition, has really played well. It's just been phenomenal to see. In this 9-game stretch, 28 goals scored to 14 against. That's a 2-to-1 clip. That's even math I can do, guys. I can do that without a calculator. That's how good that is, man. But that's a 3.11 goals for per game versus 1.56. You do a lot of winning when you put up offensive production like that and defensive production like that, especially, again, when we think about, not just Kaplan, but all sorts of other players that are this lineup. We'll talk about that in just a second. But, a quick look at the standings. And, at the time of recording, the Wheeling-Fort Wayne game was still going on. It looks like right now Wheeling's up 2-1 with 1:24 to go. So they may be getting that one there. But Adirondack does lose tonight in Worcester. So they do pick up the point there in overtime. But, losing again, I think that's 3 in a row. But again, we don't have the Wheeling results yet, but right now it is the Maine Mariners with 65 points, 29, 15, and 7, sitting just 3 points behind Adirondack and 2 points behind Wheeling. Still a game in hand on Adirondack. So, guys, they're right there. They're chasing down, of course, 8-2 over their past 10. And, of course, as we know, the 8 wins in a row. Just some phenomenal stuff. But let's take a step back. Over this past kind of 3 or so weeks while they've been on the road, what has been some of the more impressive pieces of this? I mean, because we could sit and break down each and every game, but when I look at the 9 games in total, what I love is that they're winning differently every night. They're winning kind of stylistically every night, and they're doing well in all these different situations. It can be a 0-0 shootout like they had in Florida, It can be a 5-0 blowout like they had in Adirondack. It can be tight games like you had over the last 2 days where you get down early and you fight through it. You come back and you win those games. They're doing it in all these different ways, and that should really excite Maine Mariner fans because when you get to the playoffs, you get into all of these situations. You know, anything can get thrown at you, and it's how do you react? How do you respond? Is the moment too big for you? And I think what we're seeing right now with the Maine Mariners is these moments are not too big for them. They're standing up and answering, not getting panicked, not getting down, not getting frustrated. We've talked about this all year, and Mike and I have in the booth as well, that if Maine goes out and has a bad first period, you see a good response from them in that second period. They take to coaching very, very well, and they have good coaching in that room with Kowalsky and Tolkien and Brad Staubitz and others. It's a good room, and they respond. That tells you a little bit about the culture that they have there. And we're going to talk about culture here in just a second, but my second point is you're winning while missing a lot of big guys. You're missing with a lot of moving pieces on this team. You still don't have Devo. He's still a mascot spin out. No Primo yet. We know that Sean Elliman's still in Milwaukee. Cavlin, Jacob Perreault, both up in Providence. I'm sure I'm missing some names. I'm sorry for the guys I'm missing. There's just been a lot of movement on this team. But, man, what it really comes down to is culture, and the collective room is winning. That's what's winning these games, guys. It's not because you have all your players here and you have all your guys healthy. It's you're making, Kowalski's making trades. He's bringing guys in that are fitting directly into the culture, directly into the style of play, and they're contributing. I mean, Venuto and Jordan are great examples of that. They're contributing right away, right out of the gate. You got Girard coming in as basically a third string goaltender, playing all right, giving the team a chance to win when he's out there. This is some really good stuff, but it really speaks to the culture. And it starts at the very top, man. It starts with Dexter Payne, the culture he started to set here a couple years ago when he bought the club. And listen, we all loved Wallen. I think he was a big culture guy too. But you have, Rick Kowalski coming in, setting a certain tone early on. And again, he got hired kind of late. It was August when he got hired. So felt like he was a little behind the eight ball putting this team together. But he has just set such a culture in that room. Like I said, a culture of response, a culture of accountability, and a culture of this moment isn't too big for us. We know we can win. We know we can overcome whatever hurdle that's being thrown at us right now. Take our captain away, game 1 of the season. Okay, a couple bumps in the road, but we get through it. Take our de facto number 1 goaltender away. Okay, we're going to get through it. We have the guys in the room to do that. Take Perreault away. Take Element away. Take Cheveldayoff away, who was gone for a long time. The guys have stood up, and it hasn't mattered who has been in the room. It's about that culture. It's about that collective room that has really carried the load here for this team, and it's why they are sitting, 29, 15, and 7, and right in the thick of a playoff push. I mean, you're now 4 points up on Reading, who sits number 4. You have a game in hand, but more importantly, the 5th place team, the team that doesn't make it, is Worcester. You're now 10 points clear of them with a game in hand. So not to say it's all over. You still got 21 games to go, but you're in the driver's seat now for a playoff spot. And I really don't care. I really don't care where you finish. Obviously, if you finish, 1 or 2, you get that home ice. You would love to see that. But man, what we just saw on this road trip, the Maine Mariners are going to go play you any place, anytime, and they're going to be a really, really tough bout. And I think they're going to get healthier. And as I've talked about in the last video, I think Providence, if they can, they're going to give Maine as much help as possible. I know people don't want to talk about it, but I think that, this team is no longer owned by the Philadelphia Flyers. You have an NHL guy in Kowalski running this club. Providence trusts this team more. They trust the management more. They trust the development more. And I think they're more willing to give help. Again, they're not going to suffer themselves, to help us out, but where they can help. And listen, Providence is loaded. There's a lot of guys that can go up and down. I think, again, as long as not half the team gets hurt over the next couple of weeks here, knock on wood, man, we got a great shot. This is, I would say, the best Kelly Cup shot this team has had in their 7 seasons in Maine. and y'all got to get really excited about it. Sellout crowd again today. From everything I heard, I was again really sad to miss that one. Luckily, my kid is getting better. He's hopefully going to school tomorrow, so everything's good there. But he needed the extra day. But yeah, definitely missed a good one. We already talked about Brad Alvarnitis, but I just want to reiterate this kind of as my third key point of RV is really carrying the net. He's carrying the water right now for his club. Listen, Gerard's great. But I think you don't want to lean on Gerard too much. He has to be a bona fide backup in this situation. He's played well, give him a ton of credit. But Arby is your guy. He's your starter, and he's playing a lot of back-to-backs, and he's been holding up. His stamina's there. His cardio's there. He's seeing the puck well. He had 2 shutouts in this stretch. I mean, there's just been a lot of good stuff that we can see here from what he's been up to. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Absolutely phenomenal. Of course, if you were at the game, or if you were listening on the Mixler app or on Flow Hockey, Mike did talk about next weekend, and we're just going to pull the next group of games up here. Yeah, so next up for the Maine Mariners, they head up to Trois-Rivières to take on the same Lions team. That's a 7 p.m. drop up there north of the border. You have Saturday off, and it is that Adirondack Thunder coming in Sunday afternoon for a 3 p.m. drop, which should be a huge game for the Maine Mariners. And then you play them, the Thunder again. It's the school day game. That's March 10th, Tuesday. It's a 10:30 start there, 10:30 in the morning. So always a fun one. But you got plenty of home games coming up for the Maine Mariners. Should be a lot of fun. So get excited, guys. I think we have got a potential Kelly Cup run in us. This is some really, really good stuff. Turning just briefly to the NHL, of course, it was the Boston Bruins taking on the Philadelphia Flyers yesterday, losing that one, really pissing it away, losing 3-1 to Philly. It was a 0-0 game going into the third period, and just a couple of just unfortunate plays, unfortunate goals for the Boston Bruins. The first one, Travis Konechny, of course, if you were watching the game, it was a puck that hits off the stanchion behind Jeremy Swayman, jumps back out in front of Sway. There's really no defense in front of him. And you can see as you're watching that play, Swayman is almost making an attempt with his stick, kind of thinks better of it, almost overthinks it a little bit, tries to get back in net, but he's 2-0. There's no Bruin near that puck, and there's nothing he can do. He's completely out of position. I think if you kind of surveyed 100 Bruins fans, they would say, 50 would say nothing he could do there. The other 50 would say, I want him just to dive and jump on that puck. Or try to anyway. It's a 50-50 play. If you miss, it's going in the net. But it went in the net anyway. So in that moment, instead of trying to play it with a stick, if he could have just lunged with his glove and just iced it, then that would have been great. But yeah, those are tough bounces. We know those bounces happen a lot at the Garden. It was the second goal that was really the more disappointing one, the Drysdale goal. That was his 6th of the year. Kind of gets into that soft area in between the forwards up top and the defense down below, and had 1,000 years to shoot the puck. And it was just a snipe of a shot off of, I think it was Swayman's right side. Sway just couldn't get to that right corner on his side to stop it. So tough one there. That was at the 11:55 mark in the third. McAvoy does get one at the 13:03 mark to make it interesting. And then Couturier getting the empty netter, the 19:07 mark. Of course, we can go back and talk about, I think it was the Hampus Lindholm goal, no goal, goalie interference call. I believe it was Acimont that was called for that, for the goalie interference. One of those plays where it didn't get challenged. I think that if it had been called a goal on the ice, I don't think it's overturnable, and I don't think it was going to be overturned had Sturmy tried to challenge that one. Again, I have my Bruins glasses on watching that game, and I look at Acimont. Yes, he's trying to get into a tight area out in front of the net. I do think he got pushed in a little bit, but I guess the argument is, did he get to the blue paint on his own? Very, very close. Close enough to where I agree you can't really challenge that one. Just an unfortunate one because there was no offense really in this game. Plenty of opportunities. I mean, Morgan Geekie could have had 4 goals on his own. And you got to just tip your cap to Danny Vlader, former Boston Bruin, played lights out. Amazing performance by him, keeping their very slim playoff hopes alive. So they're back on the ice. I believe it is Tuesday. Let me just pull that one up for you guys. Yeah, Tuesday back in Boston, 7 o'clock against the Crosby List Pittsburgh Penguins, who put it to Vegas today, 5-0. So that was something. Yeah, scores today. Of course, the Pittsburgh Penguins 5-0 there at PPG Paints Arena. The Blackhawks shutting out the Mammoth in Utah, and the Sharks 2-1 in overtime against Winnipeg. Sharks are an exciting young team. Ongoing right now, you have the Blues and the Wild. That's in the third period, 1-1 there. And the Panthers up on the Lightning. That's 8:25 to go in the first period. Then later on tonight, the Flames and the Ducks. They're from Anaheim. Ducks, pushing for a playoff spot for themselves. So a lot of great NHL stuff going on, along with all of our local ECHL stuff. And just a fun time to be a hockey fan, guys. An absolutely fun time to be a hockey fan. Well, guys, just thank you so much for watching and listening tonight. Again, if you were at the game, leave those comments down below. What was the energy like? What was the atmosphere like tonight at the Cross? Any Boston Bruins thoughts, any NHL thoughts, leave those thoughts down below as well. But as I always say, thanks so much for all your support here over these last couple of years. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, give it a shot, man. Hit that subscribe button. Those likes always really important too. I definitely appreciate all that. Have a great rest of your Sunday night, everybody. And until next time, be kind, show love, and God bless.
Buzz down a new Jacob, it's too many diamonds. Like, what you gonna do, baby? You too damn fine. Let's run it up. They don't wanna see us in the playoffs. 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 I could see y'all play out. Y'all boys gonna lose, it ain't no doubt. Can't use my name for no more clout. If y'all wanna win, just follow my route. Shorty rolling, shorty tryna get it rolling. Young and grinding, you gon' get it. Put them peas up in the stoley. You gon' drive 1,000 miles till his pockets keep on growing. I be skating all the ice on my neck like a goalie. When she with you, yeah, shorty, she pursuing me. Would hate if I was you, yeah. We the best to do it, baby. We the best to do it, We the best to do it, baby. Got a hat trick, that 3 shorties on the daily. My mom gone